They laughed when she first appeared on CNN. The studio lights glared, the cameras zoomed in, and her face appeared on millions of screens around the world. Her name was Maya Santos, a young Filipino woman with a dream too big for the small town she came from. When she began to speak, her accent slipped through. It wasn't the polished, neutral English people expected from CNN anchors. It was warm, melodic, and distinctly Filipino. Within seconds, the internet exploded with comments. Who let this woman on American news? One post said, "She sounds funny." Another wrote, "She's not professional enough," someone added. The mockery spread fast, from Twitter threads to YouTube compilations. Memes were made. Her accent, her pronunciation, even her facial expressions were ridiculed. For many, it was just another joke online. But for Maya, it was a storm that hit harder than any typhoon she had ever reported. What none of them knew was that the woman they were laughing at would soon become one of the most beloved and influential anchors in CNN history. Maya's story began far away from television lights, in a small coastal town in the Philippines. Her home was a humble one, with thin wooden walls and the constant scent of the ocean. Her mother sold fish at the market, her father drove a jeepney. Life was tough, but full of love. Every night, Maya would sit near a flickering candle, listening to an old radio her father had repaired from scrap parts. The static-filled English news broadcasts fascinated her. She didn't understand everything, but she loved how the reporters spoke. Clear, confident, powerful. She dreamed that one day, her voice would travel that far too. But when Maya told her classmates she wanted to be a journalist, they laughed. "You? On TV?" they mocked. With that accent, it didn't stop her. She practiced every night, reading newspapers aloud, imitating the voices she heard, sometimes recording herself on an old phone just to listen and improve. Her parents couldn't afford tutors or fancy schools, but her mother always said, "Anak, your voice will go far one day. Keep speaking, even when no one listens yet." That sentence became her fuel. Years later, Maya graduated from a small local university with top honors. She applied for jobs across Asia, sending her resume and demo tapes to every media company she could find. Most didn't reply, some rejected her instantly. Others told her kindly, and sometimes not so kindly, that she didn't have the look or sound for international television. But fate, as it often does, had its own plans. While working as a local field reporter, Maya covered a devastating typhoon that struck her province. The floodwaters were waist-deep. She stood in the middle of the storm, microphone shaking in her hand, warning people to move to higher ground. That raw, fearless clip went viral. A CNN Asia producer saw it and sent her an email that would change her life. "Would you like to audition for our international desk?" Maya couldn't believe it. Her hands trembled as she typed her response. Weeks later, she boarded a plane to Hong Kong for the first time in her life. Her family cried at the airport, waving proudly. She promised them she'd make them proud no matter what. Her voice wavered, her accent showed again. But the producers noticed something rare, her authenticity. She didn't just report the news, she felt it. They decided to take a chance on her. That's how Maya Santos became a junior correspondent at CNN International. But her first live broadcast would test everything. When the red light blinked on, Maya read the breaking news perfectly, except for one small slip in pronunciation. Within hours, Twitter was filled with cruel jokes. "She sounds like karaoke night. This is CNN, not a comedy show." That night, Maya cried in her small apartment. She thought about quitting, but then an email arrived. It was from a viewer in the Philippines. "Maya, I saw you on CNN today. You made us proud, but don't change your accent." She read the message over and over. That night, Maya made a decision. She would not erase who she was just to fit in. Over the next months, she worked harder than ever. She refined her pronunciation but kept her natural tone. She took speech lessons not to hide her roots, but to strengthen her clarity. And above all, she never lost her empathy. Her reports on humanitarian crises, floods, earthquakes, and refugee stories carried a sincerity that few others had. Viewers started noticing her warmth. "She doesn't just report," one viewer wrote, "she cares." CNN was covering a massive earthquake in Indonesia. The newsroom was chaos. Updates were coming in every second. Maya was on air live when a video appeared showing a child trapped under rubble. Her voice cracked. She paused. Then she said softly, That could have been any of us. Please, if you're watching, help." The clip spread like wildfire. People around the world donated. Rescue teams mobilized. Hours later, the child was saved, and CNN reported it live, with Maya still on air, tears glistening in her eyes. That one moment redefined her. Viewers no longer saw the Filipino anchor with the accent. CNN promoted her to primetime anchor. Her show became one of the network's most watched programs, known for highlighting untold stories from developing countries. She traveled through Asia, Africa, and Latin America, meeting everyday heroes and giving a voice to those who had none. Her interviews weren't just professional, they were personal. When she sat with survivors of disasters or children in refugee camps, she didn't talk down to them. She listened, and people felt that. When CNN held its annual Global Awards, Maya was named Anchor of the Year. She walked on stage wearing a traditional Filipina dress. The crowd gave her a standing ovation. Many in the audience had once doubted her, but now they were cheering for her. "They once laughed at my accent," she said. But today, that same voice is being heard around the world. Her speech became legendary. Schools in the Philippines played it for students. Newsrooms quoted her words as a symbol of courage. And Maya's rise began to inspire a generation. Her impact didn't stop there. CNN, inspired by her success, began hiring more international anchors with diverse accents and backgrounds. They realized people didn't want perfect voices, they wanted real ones. Maya had changed not only how viewers saw the news, but how CNN saw the world. Years later, Maya returned home. Her once quiet fishing town had changed. One little girl approached her and said, "Hey Maya, I want to be like you someday." Maya knelt down and smiled. "You can," she said. "Never be ashamed of your voice. It's your power." Her fame continued to grow, but Maya stayed grounded. She reported on wars, disasters, and acts of kindness that changed lives. Every time she went on air, she carried the same message: authenticity is strength. One day, a senior producer suggested she should neutralize her accent completely to sound more American. Maya looked straight into the camera and said, "The world doesn't need another American voice." CNN's ratings soared that week. She had become more than an anchor. She was now a symbol of pride, representation, and truth. Filipinos abroad began to thank her publicly. She gave millions of people permission to be proud of who they are. Her influence stretched far beyond TV. Universities invited her to speak about representation and authenticity. In one interview, when asked if she ever thought about those who mocked her early on, she simply smiled and said, "If they hadn't laughed, maybe I wouldn't have worked this hard." The laughter that once hurt her had become her greatest teacher. Years passed. Maya became a household name, respected not just as a journalist, but as a voice of hope. CNN celebrated its 50th anniversary and honored her with a Lifetime Achievement Award. As she walked on stage, the entire hall stood in applause. Even the senior anchors who once doubted her were clapping. Her parents, now elderly, sat proudly in the front row. "When I was little," Maya began softly, "my father used to say, 'Voices from small places can reach far places.' Today, I finally believe him." After the ceremony, a young reporter approached her backstage and said, "Maya, after watching you, I realized it's not about sounding perfect. It's about being real." Maya smiled. Never let fears silence your truth. That was the heart of her legacy. Truth over perfection, compassion over image. That night, as she left the building, cameras flashed, fans cheered, and the CNN sign glowed above her. She looked up at it, remembering the first time she stood there, terrified, mocked, and alone. Now, she was the heart of it all. The girl from a small fishing town in the Philippines had become the voice of the world, and her story carried a message that would echo for generations. No accent, no background, no barrier can silence authenticity. They laughed at a Filipino on CNN. But in the end, the world didn't just listen, it loved her.